I thought the old superstitions were nonsense, and so I buried her without the final words. Now she knocks on my door. The journal detailed the horrifying origin of the rest in peace tradition. Long ago, the phrase wasn't a blessing, but a binding, desperate attempt to contain the restless dead. Without it, the soul would claw its way back, driven by unfinished business. But there was a terrible price. To bind the soul, someone had to absorb a piece of its burden, a sin-eater's toll. The journal explained that the sin-eater's toll was a heavy burden. By speaking the words, the speaker absorbed the deceased's sins and unfinished business, carrying them like a weight on their soul. It was a sacrifice made to keep the dead at peace, but it came at a great personal cost. The journal stated that the price could never be passed on. Even after reading the journal, part of me still clung to skepticism. Maybe it was all just coincidence, a series of unfortunate events. But deep down, I knew better. The evidence was too compelling, the fear too real. I performed Elsie's rite that night, standing over her grave as the wind howled through the trees. The words felt like lead in my mouth, a forbidden curse rather than a comforting farewell. The scratching stopped. The handprints never returned. But the silence was heavy, pregnant with a sense of dread. I started sleeping again, but my dreams were haunted, not by Elsie's secrets, but by my own failures. Weeks later, I hired an assistant, Ava, bright and skeptical, a mirror of my former self. Ava was a breath of fresh air in the gloomy funeral home. Her laughter echoed through the halls, a stark contrast to the somber atmosphere. She was quick-witted and unafraid to challenge my beliefs, much like I had been before everything changed. One afternoon, Ava performed a burial alone. The next morning, she came to me, worried. She didn't say the phrase. I knew what I had to do. I could write it down, leave a note for Ava, explain everything. But the thought of putting it into words, of making it real, paralyzed me. If I wrote it, it would be true, and I wasn't ready to face that truth. So I didn't say anything. I convinced myself it would be all right, that Elsie was at rest, that Ava had nothing to fear. I was wrong.